Welcome back to my hometown. Thanks for taking a little time to stop by and join us today. Please welcome my guest today. She has gone from college athlete to entrepreneur in relatively a short amount of time. She is the go-to woman for all the fashion trends and all the fashion needs can be found at her store. Please welcome my guest today, the owner of Broke Gals Boutique, Miss Addy Cook.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Addy. So, talked about going from an athlete to entrepreneur, and in that intro, it sounds like it happened pretty fast, but there's a lot of steps that kind of happened between that.
Yeah, it was very fast. It was close together. I graduated high school in 2017 and started playing college volleyball in 2017. And I played through the end of 2019-2020 season, and I started Broke Gals in 2020. So there's a slight gap, but just a couple months of not playing and then starting the business.
And so when you started Broke Gals, you're still in college?
I was still in college, yes. I graduated college May of 2020, and I started Broke Gals, I'm going to say like March 2020, somewhere in there. No, that's not that. I lied. I started it online in 2019. The end of 2019, I opened a storefront August of 2020 after I graduated. So I did start it the semester before I graduated, like late 2019, just online from my house in Wichita, and then I moved back home when I graduated in May, and then I opened a storefront in August.
So,
during COVID.
During COVID.
During COVID.
Is when you opened the storefront?
Storefront, yes.
Wow. So you started online,
Yes.
but it's the name of the store is Broke Gals,
Yes.
but there's only one gal now,
Yes.
which is you.
Well, it started as 3 Broke Gals because I started it with 2 coworkers, and that lasted maybe a couple months, and then it was just me. By the beginning of 2020, it was just me by myself. And then when I went to open a storefront, I was like, it doesn't make sense to say 3 Broke Gals anymore, but I liked the name, so I was like, well, I'll just take the 3 off and just be Broke Gals.
So originally the name was 3 Broke Gals.
It was originally, yes, for a short period, and then it changed to Broke Gals.
And so but it started all out online.
Yes, and all from my house.
So
I
you're
did
just,
out of like my spare bedroom in my house when I lived in Wichita in college, and then when I moved back, I moved everything with me, but I didn't really have anywhere. I mean, I was like partially out of my mom's house, partially out of mine. Like it was just all over the place. And my boyfriend Zach, he had a building in town that was vacant, and I was like, can I at first I put it as, can I store my stuff in there? And then I put it up there, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to open. So I just decided to open a storefront after saying I was going to store my stuff in there.
because really before you opened, you stored your stuff in there, but sometimes people would come there, right?
That was the idea. It was like, because a lot of times, like, I would post items, like, with it being online, and they wanted to try it on. And, which I understand, I like to try stuff on, too. But it was like, oh, you want to come to my mom's house at 5 o'clock? So I was like, I need somewhere for, like, have stuff people want to try on. So then I would do that and do, like, little parties. And I was like, why not just be open? So I just opened to have it a permanent thing.
But you had a storefront, but also while you're doing that, you're also working full time.
Yes.
For the bank.
Yes, and I worked in Decatur, so granted the bank was very flexible with me, so I had to work hours, but I worked my own hours, so I would get up and go to work at 5:36 in the morning, and I would be done by 2 o'clock in the afternoon to come back, and then I would open the store when I got back from Decatur.
And then how long did you do both?
I did both for a while. So I started at the bank in like the end of 2017, and then I worked in Wichita whenever I was in Wichita. And then when I moved back, before I graduated, I was driving a couple of days a week from Wichita to Decatur because I was housed out of the corporate office there in Decatur. So that was a lot. But then I moved to Bowie, and so it was just a short drive.
After you graduated?
after I graduated, I moved back to Bowie, and now I was just driving to Decatur. And then, let's see, like May-ish 2021 is when I stopped work. I couldn't do it any longer. It was too much.
It was just a lot.
Which, I mean, granted, I did get sent to work from home because of COVID.
Uh-huh.
So that was convenient, but it didn't last long. They wanted us back into the office. I was like, can I please stay home and work from home? Because it made it so much easier on me, because I could work from the store, or I could work from home and then go to the store, and I wasn't having to commute 30 minutes, which helped, but then it got to be too much. There was no way I could keep doing both with no employees.
It was just you.
It was just me, like, trying to keep a storefront open and work a full-time job, and I was like, there's just no way.
And then you still keep online sales and storefront, so you're really doing online and
Yeah,
storefront.
it was based around online at the time. It kind of revolved around that, and then the store was open when I could be there. Because I couldn't really have set hours having a full-time job. So that was kind of, I would post like, hey, I'm going to be here from 3 to 7, or whatever time I was going to be there that day. And that was how the storefront worked until I was able to do it full-time.
Selling online has changed a lot, right? Since what, the last 4 years?
Yeah.
Almost
lot.
4 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I give a lot of that probably to COVID, how much the online sales changed.
And then has really your process evolved even more,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, so like when I say online, that was more just like had a Facebook page and I posted stuff on there, did some events here and there.
So when you started in Wichita, out of your apartment there, house, it was pretty much just posting pictures,
It was
product on Facebook.
literally just Facebook. I didn't even have a website at first, so my inventory was I had an Excel sheet, and then someone would buy something, I'd go in there and like delete it out, be like sold, and manually, and then I like numbered the items, and then eventually I was like, okay, this is not sustainable. I have to do something different. And then I got a website, and then the storefront, which the website has stayed the same. I haven't changed since I started the website. I've just stayed on the same platform the whole time. So that is one thing that stayed consistent.
Mm-hmm. But then you didn't have an app.
No.
Now you have an app.
Have an app.
Now they can shop through the app. They can still go to your website and shop.
Yes.
Now when they buy the inventory, it just automatically.
Yes. It's much more convenient now. The website has been just like the same steady thing. The app, we added that on a couple years ago, which we really initially added because I was doing live sales, where I would go live and sell stuff, and that was a big thing during 2020, 2021. It still is a thing, but it's not as big as it was. But I would do them, and people would comment, and then as soon as I would go home, sit down, get my laptop and my phone, and I would manually invoice out every single comment on there. And
Of saying what they want to buy.
yeah, so like I would number these items. I would like top number 103, and then they would comment like what size they wanted, and I would go in and invoice them. And I would have to go through like all the comments and then let them know I invoiced them after I did it. And it would take me a couple hours after doing the live sell to just get the invoicing done. And I was like,
That's before you even packaged any of the
yeah, I
products.
was like, there's got to be an easier way to do this. This is taking so much time. But I did that for a long time of just manually invoicing. And then they came out with this new platform that does when I go live, they can automatically just shop, and I don't have to invoice. It picks it all up. And that's through the app comes with that. So that was just like an added bonus. And then the app's flourished into its own thing of being so much more convenient for shopping.
Could you have more people shop on the app or online, or is it, like going to your website
The
or
website or the app.
Yeah.
The app.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how we would say like Amazon. You can just, you're not going to go to Amazon.com. You're just going to pull up the Amazon app, add the cart, swap to checkout. It's the same thing. You just get on there, swap to checkout, and I like it too because I have a lot of local Bowie shoppers or around the Bowie area that like to do that, and especially when I do a new release, if you can't get to the store then, but you don't want your size to sell out, they'll just go on, order through the app, and you can select pick up in store, swipe to check out, and then it tells us their local pickup, and we package it, put it in pickup bins. So then you can just come get it whenever it's convenient for you, and you don't have to mess with shopping in store.
Don't worry about, did it sell out? Did I get there?
Yeah, or do you still have that? Like, I really wanted it. So that makes it a lot, because too, before it would be like we would release something, and then maybe they comment and say, hey, I want the medium, can you hold it? It's like, yeah, we'll hold it for a little bit, but we're not going to hold it for 2 weeks, and somebody else wanted it. So you've paid for it and whatnot, because I was doing that, and I got burned so many times that I just stopped, and I was like,
so they can take a month if they want to come pick it up. It's already paid for.
yeah, we'll put it in the pickup bins, and then you can get it when you want to. And like some people will be like, I'm so sorry I haven't got there to pick it up. And it's like, it's fine. Like, you paid for it, you've done your part, we'll do our part by holding it until you can get there.
Mm-hmm. Which is nice for the customer.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you decide, because you don't have, you're not a huge retail store.
Mm-hmm.
You have a relatively smaller space. So it's not like you can, and being a smaller business, you can't carry tons of inventory. So how do you pick the right fashion that is going to sell?
My mindset when I go to market and do my ordering is always thinking about my ideal customers. So like I have very consistent, like I have a lot of customers that buy from me consistently, and I know what they buy and what they like. So I like try to picture them when I go and be like, oh yeah, customer A would like this item, or customer B. And a lot of it I try to split by age group. So like I have a lot of customers in like this age group that dress similar, and then some so that when I go that I can like picture those items for them. Because if I just go and be like, Addy likes this, add to cart, it doesn't work out the same, because not everything I like they like.
So there are things that you pick that you go, I don't like this, but I know customer A, this is ideal for them.
It's so funny. I have a funny story with that one. I took my cousin Hensley with me to market one time, and I was like, I picked up this shirt. I was like, oh, the broke gals would love this. And she was like, no, do not get that. And I was like, Hensley, I promise. I was like, this is so then they would really, really like this. And she was like, are you kidding? Like, you would never wear that. And I was like, but they'll like it, watch. And so I got it. I ordered it. It came in. I ended up reordering more packs of it, and I was like sending her screenshots. I was like, I told you, she's like, you were so right. Like, they did like it. I was like, I know, like, I can just, it makes it easier when you have, like, you can put a customer persona together that you know what they like or pieces that they'll like. But some of it is just stuff that Addy likes too. Mm-hmm. That I'm like, Addy likes it, I'll see if y'all like it.
But, so you've had experience over the last 3-4 years, almost 4 years. Doing that 3 years. So how did you do it at the beginning when you didn't really know what your customers liked?
A lot of trial and error. Yeah, it was getting to, and I still buy a lot of stuff that they don't necessarily like that I get stuck with. And it's just like a learning process of like figuring out and like taking those failures and like learning from them is like a big thing, instead of just being like, oh, I don't know why this isn't selling, I'll have to put it on sale and then see and just go and order something else similar to that. Of like trying to like take mental notes and learn from bad orders to not do it again. Because I had a season too of knowing like when the store's busier and when it's not. I had one season that I did really, really bad on ordering, and I ordered way too much inventory.
Not knowing it was not going to be a...
Yeah, and it was more of like knowing summer slower than winter, and coming out of, Christmas season, and I'm like, oh my God, the store was booming, it was so good, I got to get all this new inventory, and you're ordering so far ahead. So when I went to market in like January, after coming off a hit Christmas season, I'm like, we need all of this, and I ordered so much stuff, and then it all came like, oh, it's so bad. and I got stuck with a lot of inventory that I had a hard time moving because then it goes out of season so fast, and
You don't have a limited time to
I
sell
only
it.
have these few months that this inventory is good for. That using those as learning curves. So then this next year, I'm like, okay, I know Christmas is good, but we're coming in the summer. It's going to be slower. You have to know like not to order as much, and just to like on stuff like that to stick with more good basic styles that go like across the board from like season to season. I try to get a lot of those because I like that as for my closet as well, like something that I can wear all year long and not specifically just for X season.
Mm-hmm. It can be.
Yeah, it's versatile.
And that has to be hard to come off a holiday season where sales are booming. And it's almost, then you got to pull
You
yourself
do that
back.
and you're like, I finally got money in my bank account, let's go spend it. And then you get stuck with it.
And then you're thinking, I'm going to sell it again in the next few months, but it doesn't happen. Because really, how far in advance is it you purchase, 2 to 3 months in advance for the next season?
Yeah, it depends. So like some vendors do their lines so far in advance because they don't produce until orders have closed. So just for instance, like I went in August, and a couple of my vendors I had to go pre-order for their spring.
Wow.
And it's tough. It's hard, like going into like when you're in a mindset of a different season and going and ordering for and so I had to do that and then go and order some fall as well.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of challenging because you gotta really like flip your mindset to like putting outfits together and like knowing how the store is gonna flow of ordering that far in advance. It's kind of tough.
So does it ever happen that you order something for the spring, by the time spring comes, that's already out of trend? Does that ever happen? Or
yeah, it does. But when I am ordering that far in advance, I try not to go with like super trendy things that it's like, oh well, by the time that gets here, it's probably going to be out. Only thing that does help me with that is that like this direction, like Bowie and like smaller towns hit trends a little later. So it's when it's super on trend, say in LA, it might not make it here until a couple months later. So it does give me a little wiggle room with that it doesn't hit till a little later, so it hangs around a little bit longer. But I do try to like avoid ordering when I'm doing that. I try to go with like good classics and less on like super trendy.
And so mentioning that you have different trends, you really sell all over the United States.
Yes.
Because of online sales, store sales.
Yeah.
So did it take a while to connect with those customers that are online that might be in New York or LA or some of the other states? Is it harder? Because you also, on your Facebook page, you also have a VIP group for Broke Gals, correct? Did that start right from the beginning?
No. First I started with a page and I added the group on. Not long after that, so I've had it a little while. And that's where a lot of my, I would say, out of Montague County customers have came from. And some of them are like great customers now. Like I have one that lives in New York and she's an awesome customer. I feel like she lives here because she's like on the live sales. And I have one that lives in Hawaii. That she's a good one too, and I like when I see their name, I just think that they're from here, even though I know they're not, and I have to ship their orders. But a lot of those did come from Facebook. I get a lot of orders too that, just for instance, like I carry Consuela, and I'm a listed retailer on Consuela's website, so I will get like out-of-state orders from that, or we've had a TikTok go viral, and I got some orders from that, so that was pretty cool. But different stuff like that, but most of it I would say comes from our Facebook group, and like maybe someone from Bowie shares a post, but they're friends with someone else that's out of state that becomes a customer of ours too, that they saw it from them.
So it's a way to So then how do you, so as you mentioned, you see those customers on a live sale that aren't from our area. How do you connect with them in a way, as being a small business, in a way that you feel like, oh, they are from here?
I don't know. I think it was because there for a while I was doing live sales so often, and a lot of it I did interactive live sales where I would like play a game or like do other things, and just like one from things they buy, like I figure out their style. Like if they buy more than one item, like over a period of time, I figure out like stuff they like, where I can like picture them wearing it almost.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds weird, but like I can picture their style and things. And two, like all of them like message with me, like let me know they really liked an item or have questions, and just like conversating with them. That then I feel like that I'm just like anyone else, that they're from here and I know them on a personal level.
Yeah, and that's a great way, because when we take it to a message and all that versus just seeing them on live sale, it does make it connect more. And so do you still do a fair amount of live sales, or is
I don't do as many anymore. That's something I need to get better at. I need to do some more. But a lot of it's because summertime, everyone's schedules are so all over the place that the time it took for me to do it wasn't worth the return I was getting. And I have to have new styles for it, and things like that. But I do need to get back into it. Like now that school's back and we're back, people are on a better schedule that I can plan around them better and like have people on there to watch. Which a lot of people too just watch the replay. They're not on there live with me. They'll watch it, say, the next morning while they're getting ready.
Because when you do it live, it stays on your app or on the. You do it through your app or your Facebook page, or both? Both.
When I go live, it goes live online, my app, and Facebook group and Facebook page. So it goes all at one time. And from my side with my computer, anyone who comments from any of those platforms all comes to one place for me. So I can see how many people are on X platforms and stuff and where they're commenting from, but it all comes to one spot. So it's not like I'm on 4 different platforms at one time.
And when you
going live, it's all on one unit.
One central thing. Then when you usually do it live, you usually do it by yourself.
Yes.
So you're trying to keep track of all
Which
that.
is I would say against the norms almost. Most boutique owners and people who run boutiques, they have like team lives. Like there's a person behind the computer, there's other people, one responding to comments, and then there's a couple people doing like close. I've had them with other people, Hope being one. She doesn't live here anymore, and I would have her do some with me from time to time, but I'm a lot more efficient by myself. I'm a good solo worker.
So then you're trying to answer people if they ask questions as you're trying to show the product in.
Yes, but I don't type out responses. So like if someone asks a question, say like, hey, how does that fit compared, or whatever they may ask, I just respond to them verbally as I'm watching it. I don't like type out a response. That would take way too much for me.
So it's just easier to.
And that's how some of them do that. They like type out responses instead of like verbally responding to them. But I'm like, I find it more interactive to just talk to them on there, like they're talking to me. They comment and then I respond to them.
It does make them feel more part of the
yeah, I was like, I like to let them know that like I care that they're there.
Makes a difference.
And not just a viewer, like that I actually respond to them and interact with them.
Just instead of typing a response. And so, since COVID coming out of that, have you seen an increase in-store sales versus online sales, or are they still a good mix of both?
No, I mean, yes, there is a mix, but before we were majority online, very little in store. When we moved locations, that kind of flip-flopped. We became a lot more in store and a lot less online. I say a lot less online. There is like my orders that pick up in store, but I just kind of consider them with the store. They're just doing that for the convenience aspect of their size not selling out or whatever.
You mean more of online if you're having to mail a package?
Shipping packages.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We a lot more local now.
And so how did you see your business change and traffic change when you moved locations? Because your first initial space you leased, and then you moved to a different location that you could own.
Yes.
So have you seen an increase in business? Because it really, one's a little bit harder to get to, one, your newer place is easier to get to. Did you see a change in business because of location?
Yes. When I bought that building and redid it and repainted and did did all the things to the building, one, I think it had been the same for so long, like the same maroon color, that it just kind of blended in. Like no one really noticed. I mean, they knew it was there, but it wasn't like eye-catching, I guess you could say. And I painted the building white, put a black and white awning on it, and everyone was like, well, what is this? Like, it just changed the whole look of the building, and it stood out. That, on top of having a lot more parking and a lot more convenient parking. My old store, the location was fine on that side street, but the parking was not. It was not good. It works better for people who don't have, like, constant foot traffic that's more appointment based, I guess you could say, and not like retail. Because my new location, the parking is so much better. And I noticed it too, that a lot of my customers, oh my God, the parking's so much better here. It's so much easier in and out, because a lot of them would tell me that they would be going to my old store and like, I couldn't find a parking spot, and I just like.
So just keep on going.
Yeah. So like, I'm not going to park a block away to walk there to, come shop. So now it's like, oh, just whip right in, and it's easy in and out.
And when we think of block, that doesn't sound like much, but it does make a difference, especially if it's 100 degrees out.
I mean, I'm that way. I'm like, is there a parking spot closer? If not, I might have to keep going.
And I mean, if your store is busy, you might have to park 5 spots down versus around the block.
Yeah, and it's there's so much parking just around there in general that it's made life a lot better over there.
So, what, over the time of Broke Gals, what successes have you had with the business?
Growth, like steady growth, has been nice. I mean, we're not growing as much now as when we, like, from 2020, 2021. Part due to the economy, part due because we hit that spike so fast of growing out of our old space. But just like the steady growth and like growth of community within like Broke Gals, of customer wise, and like growth of our page, a lot of that. And then like also being able, like having the opportunity to be able to purchase a building. It's my first like big girl purchase, I guess you could say, of being able to buy a building. I mean, I would consider that a success that I wouldn't have probably done without Broke Gals.
And so then, what challenges have you had? Sure, there's
a lot.
I was about to say, I'm sure you can probably say that there's a lot more challenges than you probably feel like successes, because as business owners, we always think of all the challenges and hardships more than we.
They come to your head a whole lot more often. One would be, I think, like with the way people think, I find a big challenge. So like, I shared this post like a couple weeks ago about like with Amazon, Shein, Temu, all these like China. Amazon's not China based, but same difference. A lot of it comes from China.
Yeah.
But these retailers that are manufacturing super low quality items and selling them for really cheap, and people think they're getting an awesome deal, versus they're sending their money there. And when you go to, just for instance, when you had a benefit or your kids playing and they got a sponsor on the back of their uniform, it's not Temu or Shein or Amazon sponsoring and helping the community. It's all your small business owners. you see all of those. And I find that a big challenge for people. Like, you make your money and you go and you spend it here, and it's out of our community, versus say you come to my store and you buy something. That money it's not like it's just going to Addy's pocket and just like out the door. I pay 2 employees. That provides for 2 more families. I shop local, so you spend money with me, then I spend it with some, and the money's staying local, and it benefits so many more things. Yeah, our prices might be a little bit higher than Amazon, but we do a whole lot more things. We have a whole lot more interactions. It's a unique experience. You're not just customer 2,423 for Amazon. You actually need something to a small business owner. And I feel like getting people to understand that it means a lot and it has a purpose to shop local and not at the big box stores.
And I think that's a challenge for people in our community, is to realize the impact that has of spending your money with a small business. Because you're right, when you spend money with that small business, and that you see the small business that sponsors a team or this or that or a benefit, you're a little more dollars went to help them. So it's not just helping, when our customers come in and spend a little bit more than they might at Amazon. They're not only supporting us, but they're supporting the community, because we're able to now give back to the community because they came shop with us.
Yeah, it's like you're not gonna, and it's frustrating too to have like people who've never even stepped foot in your business, and then they come in like, hey, can you donate $150 to our, and it's like, well, I mean, have you done anything for my small business? Like, you just want a handout. Like, I love supporting like all like the booby stuff, teams, benefits, like the fall festivals and all the different things. I will give almost 9 times out of 10 to it, but have something to do. Like, don't just have the audacity to come in. I've never been in here before. Would you donate? It's like, well, I mean, sure.
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
So, I think respect the small business enough that if you're going for that ask, that you've also done business with them.
Yes.
I think that's only fair to small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Because small businesses people ask them a lot for donations, especially if you give once or twice,
Mm-hmm.
then
You're on the list.
You're on the list. And so everybody's coming to ask. And even if you shop, also I think it's to be aware as somebody that comes in and asks for a donation, that small business only has a set number of advertising sponsorship dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And we would all love to give to everybody that asks, because all of them are great organizations, great benefits. But there comes a point where we just can't.
Yes. Like I said, any time that I can, I will. Like, I always want to help in any way I can, but it just like goes back to, you're not going to call Jeff Bezos and ask him for a donation for your kid's sport.
But I haven't seen Amazon on any of our baseball, t-ball shirts.
But as small business owners, we almost always give to that stuff. But it's like, make sure you're giving back to keep us in business too, so that we can do that. Comes with a price.
Yeah, because it is a cycle. And we need the money so we can give it back to you. You can need it so you can give it back to the teams and organizations and benefits. It's just kind of it's a big cycle.
Yes.
But you're right, that is a challenge, is to share that with our customers.
Mm-hmm.
What other challenges have you had and that you've learned from?
It's a tough question. There's various challenges being a small business owner. A lot of them I consider more of like my own failures that I learned from, and then try not to make the same mistake twice. But a challenge all small business owners struggle with, like just getting people out shopping, of like keeping the foot traffic up, of like consistency. It'll come in peaks, but it's like it'd be a lot better if we just stayed even like all the time.
Yeah.
Everybody would just come shop all the time, and then we could just stay consistent. But it's challenging, especially like in a small town, to like get people out and moving and shopping downtown. A lot of it's like we have to have events and stuff to get people out, but would be a lot more convenient if we could just like keep it consistent and like people wanting to get out and shop and come downtown and support other small businesses.
More of just, I'm going for the event. More of, you were the first one I thought of when I needed this or that.
Yes.
You know, I was in your store the other day. We're talking, you had customers come in. And one was just looking for a Bowie shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll be honest with you. You could probably get a Bowie shirt at Walmart. And she probably could have. But instead, she came to you looking for a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes the difference.
Yes.
When you go out of your way and go to the small business and say, this is what I need, can you get it for me?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have it, then can get it, or there's other options.
Yes.
But because too, you, like you said, you go on Amazon, they're not going to give you advice of, well, try this, try that. As a small business owner, they're going to go into your business and you're going to give them other tips.
Right, and I try really hard too. Like, if someone makes the point to come in and ask for something and I don't have it, that I refer them to another small business in town that I think would have it. And maybe not clothes. Like, if someone said, I need this size of something of a t-shirt, and I'd be like, well, hey, we have a lot of places that make t-shirts in town. Like, call one of these people. Or just like referring people would be like, people who visit that come from somewhere, like, hey, I just drove in just to come shop here. And it's like, awesome, well, we have some really cool shops downtown. You should go around the corner down here and shop at these other places, which is like really awesome. I know Linda sends people to me, people come in for like adult size clothes to her. She's like, well, I only have kids, but Broke Gals has adult clothes, or if someone comes like looking for a baby gift or something, like, do you have anything? I'm like, no, but Linda does. So like, go down there. So like, just to like work together to when you do have shoppers in town, to keep them there in the small businesses downtown.
And you're right, it's not, no, I don't have that, I can't help you. It's, I don't have that, but let me tell you where you can go to get that.
Yes.
Because you don't have kids.
Especially if they made the point to come into my store to ask me,
Yeah.
I definitely want to send them somewhere else where they can get it.
They-
I just be like, no.
Because they're gonna, your advice, it's gonna be worth a lot more than somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
And because you don't have kid clothes, it's just adult.
I do have some like tween sizes, not a lot. I have a small section, but not like
little kids.
Not like baby or toddlers.
So yours is all old.
Yes.
Yeah. So the challenges are plentiful.
Mm-hmm.
The successes, I'm sure, are plentiful, but they don't
think about them as much.
They don't feel as plentiful.
Right.
So you're very busy. You spend a lot of time at the store. You have other jobs. So you also do Broke Gal Baker.
Yeah.
Where you bake stuff. So how do you find, so as you bake stuff and sell stuff and do those things, you also have started doing social media management.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So and you work at the sale barn,
Mm-hmm.
you work for your family,
Mm-hmm.
You do a lot of things. So how do you balance, personal life and all that? Just how do you balance it?
I'm not the best at balancing. I'll be the first to say I'm not great at it. I try to prioritize things. So like, say my social media thing, I know I have to get those done on X date. I make the schedule. I go to these businesses on these dates, take pictures and do that stuff. So I know that that's priority, and I know which days I have to do that. And it has a deadline, so which really helps me. If I have something that doesn't have a deadline, I'll just keep pushing it back. So like with that part of it, I try to prioritize things. Like I do the bookkeeping and stuff for the cattle company. And like for that, I know what days bill days are. So then the rest of it, I try to get done when I have time. But then also sometimes my grandma, she gives me deadlines, so she knows I'll get it done if I have a deadline.
I was about to say, because you don't want to make Lonnie mad.
No, she'll give me, like, for just like accounting stuff, she'll tell me, I need you to get this done by X date. I'm like, okay. And I will. I'll get it done by that date. I just need a deadline. But for like other stuff, like having dates to get things done really helped me. The bakery, I do that in all my free time.
So how do you fit that in on your free time? Because
Most of the time, the reason I do that, I really love baking. Like it's kind of it's very stress free for me, and like meditating almost. Like I enjoy doing it. So a lot of times I'll do it like in the evenings, like when I get home, like I'm like I can bake such and such, or in the mornings, like early, I'll like finish it. So say I'll like make a cake, roll some balls, and then like I'll dip those in the morning. So then I'll like dip them first thing before I leave the house. So I just kind of like fit it in here and there. I'm not super consistent with that on like, hey, on Friday she has this, but I try to like once a week or every other week like have a couple different things to offer. But I take orders, so like I have a big one coming up next week. I'm doing the Kids for Truth, their fall festival. So I have to like have 200 individually wrapped. Yeah. So like that stuff, I like to take orders too, because I'm like, they can tell me specifically what they want, how they want it decorated, and then I know what date I have to have it done by, and it goes much better that way.
So how did you find out that baking just kind of relaxes you, enjoy it?
I don't know. I used to, like as a kid, with Melinda, I used to always bake. Like that was what I did. And like when I go like hang out with someone like you want me to teach you how to make this? I'm like, yeah, that sounds so fun. Kind of like the bowl. So like I just as a kid enjoyed it, and then I didn't do it for a long time, like in college and stuff. And then I just started one day doing it again. I was like, you know what? I really enjoy this. And I don't really like to eat them. So I think that helps, because I feel like if I did, then I wouldn't enjoy it as much. But I'm not a huge sweet eater, so like I'll make them, package them once I'm like excited for other people to eat them.
And so you don't necessarily taste it.
No. I mean, I'll like sample and like make sure it tastes good. But other than that, like the cake balls and like Oreo balls, all that kind of stuff, I'm like, I already know how those, so I don't ever sample those. But if I make like a new cookie or a new something, like I'll taste it just to make sure it's not disgusting before I sell it. But most of the time it's pretty good. I went through a trial of like trying to find a good sugar cookie, and I would taste it and I'd be like, I think it's pretty good, and then I would have my mom taste it. She's like, that tastes horrible. So or I'd have Zach taste it. He's like, hey, that's okay. So a lot of trial and error. I found one that's really good. Mm-hmm. I did a lot of editing to my recipe, and I've gotten it down. I think it's really good, and my mom gave me 5 stars, and so did Zach. So I was like, oh, my taste tester said that it was good, so it must be good.
So it's good to go out in the real world.
Yeah.
And so your degree is in business?
Finance, yes.
Business finance. So, you utilize that, in the cattle company.
Mm-hmm.
But Broke Gals really came about because of your love for fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Shopping.
Yeah.
Your baking, just out of what you enjoy doing in your downtime. I thought, well, I'm not going to eat it and have a bunch of it, and it's going to make people happy, so why not do it? Your social media management came out of, I see a need, and you've learned that through your business, of managing social media and scheduling and doing all that. It came out of that experience, came out of doing it for yourself, and then recently seeing a need for social media management, and then starting to do that. Is what I'm getting at is that none of those were really started because this is going to make me a ton of money.
No, I'm very, if I have an idea, and I have a lot of ideas too, then I just go with it. If I see something that I think will work, I don't really think about it too much. I just kind of go with it. Like the social media thing, I did a social media presentation, and I saw the need for it and how many people needed it, and I was like, you know what, I could do that. I was like, then I think the next day I called you. I was like, hey, what do you think about this? And since then I've just kind of gone with it. And same with the baking. It's like I was like, I really want to make something. And I make something. I'm like, but I don't really want to eat it. So like, well, I could sell it, and like other people like it. So that was kind of how I didn't do it to make any money. If I make money, that's awesome bonus.
It's good.
Yeah, but my mindset doesn't really work like that.
And so you do say you have big ideas. You have a lot of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about before. We both tend to have lots of ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes that can be burdensome
Mm-hmm.
because you can't get to all those amazing ideas that you have. And there's just so many of them. Some you have to let go. But some of the ideas that you had that we've done recently is Christmas in July
Mm-hmm.
that we had in our community.
Yes.
Was your brainchild for businesses to get together to do that. One we have coming up in November will be Pink Friday.
Real excited about that.
And you did Pink Friday last year.
I did.
But now you had the idea and to get other businesses involved in Pink Friday. So Pink Friday is going to be pretty cool this year.
I think so.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. It's like I have done it for a couple of years, but last year being my biggest year of doing it, and like in the moment I was like, this is awesome. Like this is going so great. And then like afterwards of looking at numbers and seeing like I had 100 people come in my store that day. And one day from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. I had 100 people come through my doors and check out. I was like, imagine if all these other businesses like had the same turnout, all these people circulated through our community, what it could be. And that was kind of like where it hit me of like, if my first initial thought was like, oh, our Smythe Street could be like, have a whole Pink Friday thing. But I was like, well, what if we did like the whole downtown and like everybody could just pitch in, and then it helps too with all these other participators since they may bring me customers that were specifically coming to shop with them and they made the rounds, and then I got an order out of it, or vice versa. Like someone who came to shop with me goes down the street to shop with someone else, and then it just kind of domino effects through our small businesses. I was just thinking, I was like, man, if we were all on the same page and we did this together, like it could be a really cool thing.
It could be really big.
Yeah.
And Pink Friday, for those that don't know, is the Friday before Black Friday, right?
Yes.
And it's
so
for
it's the 17th.
17th of November, and it's for small businesses.
Yeah, and it really, the whole focus of it is Black Fridays became honestly like a week-long deal, and it's all big box stores of like people go and shop all these big box stores to get these TVs and Christmas presents and whatever, and the small businesses get left out of that. So Pink Friday really amplifies shop small first before you go and do all this big box store shopping. Like keep your money local for the max amount you can, and then whatever you can't get from these small businesses, then go and do that. But try to get everything you can local first, and we're going to be running like awesome specials too, so it's like saving you money.
And a challenge to small businesses, small business owners in our community. You didn't just say on your Pink Friday last year, this is the sale, it's going on all day. You made it an experience.
Yes.
And you know, a hint to small businesses is for the customer, make it an experience. You had different sales all day long. You had snacks, drinks. It was just an all from certain time to this time to this time. It was just an all-day event.
Which is just another example of why, like, Amazon doesn't give you something that cool.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty cool, small business owners.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, my thing was I did a fill the bag. So like, however much you could fit in your bag was X% off at these times, and then like whatever you couldn't fit was a different percentage. We had mimosas, and we had beer, we had wine, we had coffee and donuts and all the different things, and it was like so fun. Like it was such a fun day, and like just everybody was so excited about it. Like I had people lined up at my door at 6:45 a.m.
And I was like, 7, right?
I was opening at 7, and
And
they were like lined out the door. I was like, are going to have to hang on 1 second. I'm still setting the rest of the stuff up. Like, give me 1 minute. But just how excited people were to do it. It's, a lot of other things, like, when's the last time you got that excited about shopping? So, community-wide, and then it'd be so awesome.
It's going to, I mean, that Friday's going to be pretty huge. It's going to be a lot of fun all over town. It's not just going to be downtown businesses, it's going to be businesses all over town. So there's going to be a lot of places for people to go.
Yeah, whole town's just so packed that day.
Yes, and so, because Addy, she's not like me, I'm a procrastinator. You started way ahead of time.
I'm trying to.
Because as we do this, it's in October.
I have a deadline.
and
get it done.
And you've mentioned other businesses, so now they hold you accountable. And,
yes.
Yeah. So you do have a lot of ideas, and those ideas are helping our community. They're helping other small businesses be able to have ideas that they didn't necessarily have. But also some of the successes that you've had with your experience, you're sharing that with other businesses, and they're able to, which is neat that they can dovetail onto that experience. And sometimes it's nice as small business owners, we can jump the curve and not have to go through all those ourselves.
Yes.
We can say, well, Addie's done this, and this is what works. So, and she can share with other small businesses, hey, that was what works. And it's a good thing for the customer because the customer gets that experience, and they don't have to watch the other small businesses bumble and fumble trying to figure it out.
Well, and too, another like positive thing I see about it is like, as small businesses, we all kind of like run our different sales and specials at different times. And as a customer, to try to keep up with whose is when and what time, and like all these different businesses where we're like all together, like, hey, everyone's doing this on the same day, like you can hit all of us at one time, you know, make your way through town. We all have our specials going on. I feel like as a customer, like that makes it so much more convenient. Be like having a list, be like, so and so has this sale, so in it, like it's all at one time, and not being like, well, Addie's is on Friday, Jennifer's is next to, you know, like everyone's being different times in different places. So,
and going back to another advantage of shopping small businesses and those kind of events, like when was the last time you went to Walmart and got entered into a drawing for free gifts?
I know we had some like super awesome giveaways.
Yeah, because we had like 4 different giveaways.
Then the Christmas in July, I came up with that super last minute, and we threw it together like the week before. And we had 4 big giveaways, so I'm like, there's no telling what our
weed eater, jewelry, all kinds of stuff.
Pink Friday one's going to be like. And also this time we're like adding an extra bonus of like the more places you shop, the more entries you get. So it's like, yeah, you don't get that anywhere else. Like you don't get that cool experience and like also get a chance to win a weed eater. That was one of our Christmas in July ones.
Yeah, so. I think probably the prizes given away during Christmas and July was probably well over $1,000.
Oh, for sure.
That was donated by our small businesses. So, and then that's a way for our small businesses to say thank you for shopping with us, and also give the customer a chance to win things in return. Yeah,
everyone likes a fun game too. Like everybody wants to win, so that's like an added bonus. It's like, ooh, I'm not winning that, you know. Kind of like a gamble.
And when you did the drawing, you did it live, and so people got to watch and see that, and so it's.
No, I'm not lying. I didn't just like pick a name out of there. I really did draw.
You really did, and I think there was a little. You just drew the name out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's about it's a challenge to small businesses to make it fun for the customer, but for us to make it fun for the customer, we have to have customers come in.
Correct.
They're the other part of the fun. If it's just the business owner there by themselves or with their employees, it's not a whole lot of fun. It makes your day to, again, when I was in the other day, another customer came in and looking for an event, clothes for that, and you help her pick them out. It's fun for you. That's what you enjoy. Just as me, if people come in the gym, I enjoy showing them around, enjoy them, showing them different exercises, those types of things. It's the things that small business owners we enjoy.
Right.
Now, Addy and I we didn't go into a lot of detail like sometimes we do, but Addy has been on the Mind Body Project before. That was a couple years ago. We did that on a series of Women Inspiring Women. And there we go into even more detail about college, working in corporate atmosphere, in a little bit more detail. But even now, 2 years later, things have changed a lot, and your business has evolved. Different location, different abilities. You've evolved as a business owner. You've evolved as a person, going into different things, trying. You're not just. If someone was to say, Addy, what do you do? What would you say?
Initially, if someone asked me like high level, like, what do you do? I say I own Broke House Boutique. But then if they want like more detail, I'm like, well, if you really want to know, I do all these other things too. But to keep a high level, I say I'm a boutique owner, and then the other things fall underneath it. But for the most part, I'm like, if you want me to list out all these irons I have in the fire that I can't seem to get done, I'll let you know.
But there's a lot more to Addy than just Broke Gals Boutique.
Yes.
There's a lot of other things you're interested in. There's a lot of other ideas you have. And these are just some of your outlets for those ideas.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a lot more to come, and there's a lot more that you'll evolve into. Because I'm sure, just like social media management, 6 months ago, that's probably not something you would have thought of necessarily.
Not on my mind at all.
Not at all. So it's always interesting that the interactions you have, the experiences you have, what else is going to come up in 6 months. So it's always evolving, always changing. So you have been in Bowie, your roots are Bowie, your family. What makes you call Bowie my hometown?
I would say the people in the community definitely make it feel like home. Because a lot of the same people from even when I was in elementary school that I knew and loved, and then owning a business, I've found all these other people in Bowie that I didn't even know that now I consider them friends. I feel like you don't get that in big towns. That's very unique. I love that somebody comes in my store, then I'm I know them now that I see them at the grocery store, and I talk to them, and then who's that? I'm that's my friend, she shops with me, and I learn to, I've met so many more people, and it's such a small town, you wouldn't think that you can meet more people than you already know in town, but I have in Bowie growing too, also helps people who have moved here from other places and welcoming them to Bowie. I would just say the community aspect, and everyone really supports everybody. It may not seem like that from the outside looking in or high level, but a lot of times we all have each other's back, and I think that makes it a really cool place to be.
And just to touch on people moving in, have you seen an increase in business with people moving in?
I've had new customers from it. I wouldn't say necessarily that there's that much increase, but I have had new customers and new faces come in that told me that they've moved here from wherever it may be, from other places. A lot from the Metroplex, a couple from California or wherever. So I have seen new people and had new customers from that. I wouldn't say there's necessarily been a huge spike or anything yet.
Just new faces.
New faces.
And one last thing I want to point out is that the same challenge that you mentioned, which is people, is the same success that you mentioned. They're challenging, but yet they're part of our community. We would help each other. It's the people that make our community. They challenge us, and I think it's the same as our family members.
Yes.
They challenge us. They make us mad. But they're also our greatest strength.
Right.
They support us when we need it. Sometimes they...
Our lives would be really boring without them.
Yes. So it takes the people to be challenging. It takes the people to help us be successful to make our community. So our greatest thing is sometimes they're challenging us.
Yeah.
But that's just part
Full
of
circle.
Full circle. So Addy, they can find you. We're out on social media, website. All
Yeah, all of it's Broke Gals Boutique, brokegalsboutique.com. It's Broke Gals Boutique in the App Store. Our Facebook group is Broke Gals Boutique VIP, and then our Instagram, Facebook, it's all the same. It's all Broke Gals Boutique.
Yeah. So another good point to show small businesses is be consistent across all platforms
Yes.
if you can.
It's so much easier.
And if you have the right name, nobody's taken it yet on Instagram, Facebook, the
So
World
far,
Wide
so
Web.
good.
So you can do that. But so we'll also put that in the links in our show notes. Broke Gals Boutique across all platforms. So
Yes.
yeah. So thank you, Addy, for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you taking a little time, and thank you for what you do for our community, giving back, making it look a little prettier than it was before, and just helping our businesses grow and have new ideas. Because we'll take all the ideas you have. So.
Got lots of them.
But we can take them. And as I've always said, when you come to me with ideas, I'm always like, go ahead, I think it's a great idea. So I'm not, if you're looking for an idea to maybe not go for, then I'm not the right person to come to. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but thank you. I appreciate you joining me today and appreciate you sharing your story. And again, if you want to find out more about Addy's story, you go to the Mind Body Project from a couple of years ago and look for Addy, and we'll go a little more in depth and everything. But some things we didn't cover today because you're evolved and you're different now than you were 2 years ago. So thank you to each of you for stopping by and visiting with us. We're looking forward to seeing you around my hometown.